A political stunner from Ottawa. One of the Prime Minister's most trusted advisers and longtime friend, Gerald Butts, has resigned amid allegations the Prime Minister's office interfered to help Quebec engineering giant SNC-Lavalin avoid a criminal prosecution. Butts made the announcement on Twitter through the PM's communication director. In a statement, he said, "I categorically deny that accusation that I or anyone else in his office pressured Ms. Wilson-Raybould. We honour the unique role of the Attorney General. At all times, I and those around me acted with integrity and a singular focus in the best interests of all Canadians. Any accusation that I or the staff put pressure on the Attorney General is simply not true." The move follows allegations from anonymous sources in a Globe and Mail story that the Prime Minister's office pressured former Attorney General Jody Wilson-Raybould to help SNC-Lavalin avoid prosecution on corruption and bribery charges related to contracts in Libya. The story alleges Wilson-Raybould was demoted to Veterans Affairs in part for not going along with the plan. Last week she resigned from Cabinet and hasn't spoken publicly since, citing solicitor-client privilege. She's hired a former Supreme Court judge to advise her. Butts' decision to step down is, according to one political analyst, a serious development that will only attract more attention to the scandal.
This is an explosive circumstance. This is a person who served at Queen's Park as Principal Secretary, Chief of Staff to Dalton McGuinty. Some people would suggest he's two-thirds of the Prime Minister's brain when it comes to all of this, so the closest confidant. So it would take a major circumstance for him to leave the Prime Minister's office, and I don't think it's going to stem the flow of questions now.
In a press conference earlier today, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh called for a public inquiry and the Prime Minister to allow Wilson-Raybould to break her silence.
We're calling on this government to launch a public inquiry, to have the independence to ascertain the truth behind what's going on. In addition, we're calling on Mr. Trudeau, the Prime Minister, to allow the prior Attorney General, Ms. Wilson-Raybould, to speak so that she can provide information about what happened.
The Conservatives also adding their voice, saying it is now more important than ever before that Mr. Trudeau waive solicitor-client privilege so Jody Wilson-Raybould can tell her side of the story to Canadians. The resignation of Gerald Butts, the Prime Minister's longest-serving and most trusted aide, does not in any way settle this matter. In fact, it presents even more questions that must be answered. Gerald Butts and the Prime Minister have been friends from the time they both attended McGill University. In a tweet earlier today, Mr. Trudeau said, "Gerald Butts served this government and our country with integrity, sage advice and devotion. I want to thank him for his service and continued friendship." Butts says the allegations are taking away from the work the Prime Minister's office is doing, saying that it is in the best interest of the office and it's important work for me to step away. Butts went on to say that he has served Trudeau to the best of his abilities and has at all times given the Prime Minister free and unfettered advice. Butts' resignation comes before the House of Commons resumes tomorrow, and the Justice Committee investigating this controversy is also expected to meet. In Vancouver, Tom Walsh, City News.